Okay, Finance Committee meeting on May the 18th at 4 o'clock. Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Thames?
Here.
Mr. Higginbotham? Ms. Smith? Here. And Mr. Harden?
Here.
So Mr. Higginbotham going out? Okay, so you have a quorum for present.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining us in our new format here for finance. I apologize for starting a little late, but I believe we can get out in time with no problem. So has everyone been able to review the minutes of May the 4th?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented without a reading.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Thames to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them as distributed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, 4-0, that passes. Okay, we're just going to go through here. We're going to be carrying over a lot due to time constraints and just trying to get as much done as we can. 220917, request for an update on Homewood Board of Education construction project. I don't have any additional information on the board project. Does anybody have anything to report?
I spoke with Dr. Cleveland, and I think he'd asked about a tour, and he just said whenever we're ready, but obviously things change. So whenever we're ready. But they're moving quickly on the high school since
They're doing there. Right. Okay. And and he's going to be on for another 6 months. Is that the report?
I actually believe now that things have progressed, he's moved back up closer to his original timeline, but I can confirm that.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Thames? Okay, we're going to carry that over for further reporting. 110717, update on new public safety center construction project. I know a few people have taken a tour, and so they said that that's really good. What is the date for the official move-in for that? Does anybody know?
I still spoke with Captain Sutton about some stuff that some items he said he did their anticipation first.
Yeah, that was the date that I was given when I went and did the tour.
Okay, wonderful. All right, we'll carry that over. It won't be too long down the road that we can probably drop that item, but we'll carry it over for one more meeting probably. Okay, 060220, request for consideration of funding street improvements from Ward 1. We had already taken care of the Diamond Interchange. I don't believe there's anything additional that we need to report out for this item. Is that correct? Does anyone have anything additional that we need to?
I think at some point in time, they were talking about having a council work session. We were supposed to have one before the pandemic started. Isn't that right, President? Right? We were going to have a work session about the.
We were, and maybe we'll do something in June. Let's talk about that. I don't want to set it right now. Let's talk about that. Maybe we'll do something in latter part of June, do a work session. But let me just think about that.
This item kind of got morphed in. It was originally a request for funding street improvements by Mr. Gwaltney and Thames. But then I think during the finance, it came up about what are some other bond uses. So it kind of turned into the capital projects of the bond uses.
Okay. Okay, we're going to carry this over without objection. And if anything else needs to be reported out of that, then we can handle it. But we'll carry that over. Okay, moving on, 181119, consideration of parking management system RFI, again from Ward 1. Is there any additional report? I know we're waiting on a report back from our consultant. No, go ahead.
We had a presentation by Timmy Horn, and they presented 2 options, which were first option, which was the total scope, which would have encompassed all of basically Rosedale Drive to Oscar 31 to just past the development. A little bit more in-depth traffic counts and setting in place. $70,000, and option 2 was trip back scope, which basically same deliverables, but I think area of review. And the in our area view, and it was around 40 some odd thousand dollars. So at this point, we just really need to make a decision if we want to proceed or not.
And it's better which package.
Yeah.
And can you remind me, is this item in another committee?
It's in Public Works still.
And did it just come out with the two options, or was there a recommendation of one of the options? Anybody recall?
It did not come out with a recommendation. It was sent to, I think we had the presentation in finance, if I remember correctly. Let me
I
get,
think it was sent to both just so they would be in both,
Yeah.
but I don't think Public Works has actually voted it out yet.
so if we, do we need are you wanting a recommendation from the committee?
Yeah, I would think, I mean, really what we need to do from finance is just fund whatever recommendation that Public Works would make on which option, and we can certainly.
Okay, we can
Yes,
discuss
Mrs.
that.
Smith.
Is this, I can't remember, is this one budgeted? Is this a budgeted item?
No,
This is not,
it's not.
Okay.
this is not, no. And let the record reflect, Mr. Higginbotham's here. Sorry, I didn't meant to say that a few minutes ago.
I saw you come in, but I forgot the time. Was it about 5 minutes ago? Okay,
It was 4:08.
4:08, gotcha.
Well, what would finance like to do with this? We have a couple of options. We can move forward on the recommendation, or we can wait to confirm the recommendation, or we can push it more towards budget hearings. I know this is a important project, but what is the thought within finance?
Andy, what was the price difference between the two of them?
About
Just around it.
30,000.
So option one, so just to give a brief summary, there are basically 5 tasks that occur with both scopes of work: data collection, engaging stakeholders in the various business owners downtown, parking analysis, and then recommendations, reporting, meetings, calls, and revisions. The total sum for option one, which was the largest scope, covering the largest number of streets and surface area downtown, was $77,000. Option two, which has the same deliverables but smaller scope, was $48,500.
I guess the thing I question right now is if they went up and started calling on these business owners in Homewood, most of them would go, man, I have no idea right now. I'm just trying to survive. I mean, if we did this in the fall, it seemed to me we might get a different answer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That they probably wouldn't be that open to talk. Not that they would ignore someone doing that, but I think it'd be a tougher conversation and get less feedback, I think, just as everybody's trying to figure out the world, this tornado we've been in.
Well, and I'm going to start sounding like a broken record because I'm probably going to say this more than once tonight. But considering that the mayor has asked of our department heads to be frugal and decisive with their spending, I'm hesitant to support anything right now that's not a budgeted item, because I feel like we can put it to budget hearings and discuss on them. Like John said, to get the business owners some chance to kind of recover a little bit from this insanity. And then also not spend something that we weren't planning on spending, especially since we have the Divergent Diamond now we're having to fund. I just feel like maybe that's something that could be put off to budget hearings and included in the budget next year. So then we'll know for sure it's happening and we can discuss more thoroughly what option we want to go with.
I think that's reasonable. I mean, right now, you wouldn't get a true picture of what parking looks like because half the businesses are closed, the other half are only doing curbside or reduced capacity. By the time budget hearing rolls around, we should be back to normal.
You want to, I guess, move to send it to budget hearings to put within the budget for the fall for next
Sure,
fiscal year?
I'd be happy to make that motion, yes.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Thames. Sounds reasonable, but that can give us time to pull the recommendation we want and then talk more about it during budget hearings. Any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. That's 5-0. 5-0. 160220, request for consideration for lighting for 700 block of Windsor Drive. This is what we had gotten a report from Mr. Hamley. We don't have that back yet, do we? Mr. Burgett, you were checking on.
No, he's still waiting on our large project. Have to do a lot of
Okay.
engineering.
So we're waiting on Alabama Power to provide guidance on that. So we're going to carry that over without objection. 110320, consideration to place video streaming technology in a council committee room for purpose of recording, broadcasting committee meetings. Mr. Higginbotham sent out the proposal today for that. So I'm open to any comments on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
to answer the question that you emailed me, we could do it either way. We could either stream live or we could put on YouTube. My thought was we would do what we're doing with council. And what we're doing with council right now is recording and putting it on YouTube. Having said that, based on email feedback I got, I can count. So I'd like to make a motion to send this to budget hearings this fall.
Okay. Well, you don't always have to be in the majority. So we have a motion by Mr. Higginbotham to send this item, which was not budgeted, but certainly for transparency's purposes is important, but in light of kind of where we are, move to send that to budget hearings for consideration. Moved by Mr. Higginbotham, second by Mrs. Smith. Any other discussion?
A question I have, do we know about how much that's going to be? Is that?
Yeah, that was in that attachment. It was,
Sorry,
okay.
I didn't try to send it to you on council already.
Probably did.
11,400.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
11,400,
Is that
Okay.
right?
11,800.
Okay.
4,000 of it was,
Implementation.
expense,
Yeah.
and the rest of it was
Doing the-
for
yeah.
actual, I'm sorry, I'm not talking into the mic. 4,000 of it would have been equipment expense, and the other 7,800 was an estimate based on the belief we would have a certain number of committee meeting nights over the course of the year if we're meeting 2 Mondays out of the month. So it was $325 every committee meeting day we did was operational costs.
Perfect.
And that came to $7,800.
78, that's right.
Thank you.
And if you don't have it, let me know and I'll resend it.
No, I'm sure.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. That is 5-0 to send to council tonight to go to budget hearings. 070420, discussion and consideration regarding the RSA option of Tier 1 and Tier 2 retirement groups. Mr. Burgett and Ms. Salter have requested that we carry this over for, we've got additional reporting to do for this, and this is going to take a while to pull together. So we're going to carry this over without objection tonight. Moving on to new business, 020520, consider to adopting a donated sick leave policy for city employees. Coming to us from the mayor, I've been requested to carry this over as well. This is going to take a while to pull this together. So we're going to carry that over without objection. And then 030520, consider revisions to the employee handbook. We still need to do a little bit more work on this one, correct?
Yes, sir. That one, we may end up, depending on where we are on June 8, we may ask you to table that one because it's a bigger scope item, but we wanted to have it, we can talk about that on June 8. We may ask you to table it until we get closer because we're trying to overhaul the handbook, but we
Okay.
wanted y'all to know we're working on it, but we'll let you know on the 8th, but because we want to get the donated leave policy item first, but this one may take a little bit longer, but we'll
Okay,
let
so
you know.
are you basically thinking tonight it would be appropriate to table this?
Well, if you don't mind just carrying it over to the 8th, June 8th,
Okay,
and then
until
we'll
the
let you
8th,
know,
okay.
but more than likely, as it stands, since that's such a big project, we might ask you to table it on the
Okay.
8th.
Perfect. We'll carry that over without objection.
Which one is that?
That is
Oh,
030520, the
0520.
employee
And it's not
handbook.
on there, but we knew we were going to have to carry it over the handbook.
So it's not going to be on council. Yeah. Okay. Last item, 050520. Request to consider compensation for the absentee election manager as allowed by the Code of Alabama. This relates to our wonderful city clerk who historically has been paid to handle the election duties, and that's been a resolution we've passed. And do you have a report on this, Mr. Kendrick?
I can give you a report.
Okay, please.
The state code provides that you pay a minimum of $50 per day for up to no more than 46 days. In the past, I'm not sure what's been paid, but that's what the code provides.
We did a research. We couldn't find, so I don't know what Linda Cook was paid. We couldn't find. I'm not saying she wasn't, but we couldn't find it.
She was paid, I didn't know.
We weren't able to find it. We got some information. I don't know, one or two city.
I thought it was 375 for that.
Well,
I don't know if that was exactly what it was.
yeah, I don't know. There was something that she got in payroll back one time in 2008 that was 375. It wasn't marked in payroll exactly what it was. And then I think we told at least one city clerk in Vestavia to see what they did. Did Lynn Porter ever email you back? Oh,
She did
okay.
10,000.
Mike, so what you said was that the code itself provides for $50 a day for no more than 46 days.
That's correct.
And that, according to my math, that works out to $2,300. According to my calculator.
Good math, good math.
Calculators, that's all.
Okay. You didn't do Common Core. But, what line item would that be coming out of?
Well, we have a municipal election line item, but technically it's paid, since I'm an employee here, it's paid as payroll. So it just have to be added to, or just be paid in my salaries budget because it has to tie to your 941. So it'd just be in city clerk salaries.
Okay, okay.
Well, then I would move to approve spending $50 a day for no more than 46 days to be paid to Melody's salary line item in the budget.
Second.
Mr. Higginbotham was first. He's closer to me. So you're way up there. You're above everybody, Mr. Harden. So,
Mr. Chairman, could I
Yes.
ask a question, a related question about the absentee ballot? I was on a Zoom call some weeks ago for one of the committees with Alabama League of Municipalities that I serve on. And so I guess this question is for Mr. Kendrick. At that time, they indicated to me that there was going to be some sort of latitude granted relative to application for absentee ballots, given the situation with COVID-19.
Yeah, that's a pure legislative matter.
Okay. But I was asking you, has anything happened regarding that? Or?
My understanding is that the executive committee of the league has determined that they're not going to ask for an extension of the election date. I haven't been informed about anything about absentee ballots.
Okay. Well, I'm not concerned with the extension of election day. He had just mentioned that about absentee ballots, and I wondered if there was anything formal that we've received.
There's not anything that's been passed by the legislature that I'm aware of. I'm on a conference call on Friday with a legislative update, since I think the legislature may be out today. Is today
I think that's right.
or this week?
I just wondered if there was any clarity.
And the
on
city
that.
clerks, we have a Zoom election boot camp update as well, I'm sure. But we have one Wednesday
Okay.
because we haven't been able to meet because of all this. So they're having a city clerk Zoom.
Everybody's trying to wait till the legislature gets out of session, because any change in the absentee ballot, election date, or anything like that have to be done by the legislature.
Right. Okay.
Ballots are, municipal elections are set by a specific code section, being the fourth Tuesday in every 4 years. And the absentee ballot provisions in Title 17 are all controlled for all elections by the legislature.
Okay. I was just trying to clarify that because it came up in that committee discussion. That's fine. That's fine.
Ms. Jones, I did get an email back just now from Lynn Porter. She's kind of like our go-to expert. And she said every municipality in Jefferson County that pays the city clerk pays them $50 a day, which is a statement.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm
So-
fine with that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't even ask
Well,
for it in 2016 because I was a
we haven't
baby. I
voted
just
on it
appreciate
yet,
y'all letting me do
so-
the election.
I sent that to you. Blame me, because that's what the code provides for elections.
I didn't want to ask for too much.
So is it a
on the
flat
16th.
fixed fee of $2,300? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that was moved by Mrs. Smith, seconded by Mr. Higginbotham. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed by the same sign. That's 5-0 going to council. Anything that's tabled that we need to address? Okay, we are adjourned.
Here. Mr. Wolverton? Mr. McCluskey? Mr. McCluskey? Okay, Mr. Wyatt? Here. And Mr. Harden?
Here.
So Mr. Wolverton's absent? So you got 4 present. You have a quorum.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to dispense the reading and approval of the minutes from the Public Works Committee meeting on March 16th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Harden, Councilman Wyatt. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Carries 4-0. All right, first item under old business, let's see. 080719, request for consideration of changes to support infrastructure installation. We'll carry this item over. I sent an email to Mr. Kendrick and we're discussing some items that will be included in the draft of the ordinance that I'll share with everybody once it's created. 181119, request for consideration of parking management system RFI, Councilors Gwaltney and Thames. This item was obviously referred to the budget hearing in finance. So would there be consideration to do the same in Public Works? Or should we drop
Is
it?
that the way to handle this, Mr. Kendrick, since it was in 2 committees?
I mean, the same item number would have been referred, so we can probably drop.
I was wondering if we could drop it here, but I didn't
It's
want
hard
to
to
inadvertently
drop
drop
it and leave
it
it a budget
from.
hearing on the same item, so I would have to ask maybe you just table it or
Table
send
it?
it to budget hearing, either one.
I was saying, maybe we'll table it, and then when we get closer to budget hearings,
Be a good reminder.
Kimley Horn can come back and maybe represent, so we can
That's a good
have a
idea.
better idea of which one we want to go with.
Right.
All right, move the table.
Motion table, Councilor Wyatt, second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Was that McCluskey Wyatt?
McCluskey won.
Okay.
That was
1811.
1811. Thank you. All right, 010220, request for updates on Green Springs revitalization, Berkeley Squires. Anything this week?
Yeah, I mean, I talked with Liz, and I'm thinking, I talked about by the middle of June, we'll be ready to bring basically what all the stuff that we got in the hearings and stuff, and bring it to the committee, let the committee kind of decipher through it. If you guys want to share it as a whole, like, that's fine too. And then you guys kind of make a decision. After that, it's pretty much whatever you decide, then we'll be ready to start getting the process, put the package together, and ready to go from there. So, Liz said basically she thinks by mid-June, 15th or 20th, they'll be ready. So that's my plan, to bring it to the Public Works Committee, and go on and just share it as a whole, which is
Okay.
fine. Get everybody's input on public input meetings and all that stuff.
That'd be great. Thank you. All right, so we'll carry this item over pending a report in June. 050420, request for Birmingham Waterworks Board to address leak at 300 block of Rumson Road. Councilor Andrus.
I spoke to somebody from DZ with you here. Anybody want to, I just texted Greg, I have not heard. I know that they had gone out to bid for that project, which is good news, but I have not gotten anything. Hey, Berkeley, know anything about that?
I mean, that, they know about it. I mean, what I understand, I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of like some other ones, they got it on the list, but, they've got different crews now with the codes going on, and unless it's just a major one right now, it's on there, but they're not gonna give us a date, so.
Did that sound like, what Greg for me was that they had been going to go out to bid, which sounded promising.
Jennifer?
Yeah.
I was actually on Rumson,
Oh.
like, over the weekend.
Yeah.
Looked like to me they had definitely dug up the road, and there was like a.
Was it Spire or the Waterworks?
No, it looked like Waterworks because
Okay.
they had something attached to the fire hydrants.
Oh, I thought, yeah,
That
that's
was
cool water
draining
right
off.
there, yeah.
And the water did not look like it was flowing when I went by.
So the flowing is down a little bit further down the block.
Further down, it's on
Yes, it's at the base of someone's sidewalk. That's the problem, is it's on the sidewalk. And the sidewalk is
It's a road
absolutely
in the
trashed. It's a road in the sidewalk. The brand new
Algae.
200,
Okay.
that's the problem.
Well,
Yeah,
is that,
but you're
I
right
may
about
not
that.
have seen that, 'cause it looked like to me that they had been out there and it looked like they had dug, but I
Yeah.
did not notice that they had dug.
And that's standing water right now too on that inlet's clogged. I mean, and there's the inlet across from that has got a big pile of grass. It is a mess over there. So I just texted Greg.
So would you like to carry this item over?
Yeah, I mean, I don't drop this. I mean, it's, like I said, it's egregious. I would not have put it on the agenda if it were not.
All right, so we will carry over 050420. And with that, Public Works is adjourned.
Meeting on May 18th, Mr. Thames?
Here.
Mr. Wolverton? Mr. Jones? Mr. Wyatt? And Miss Angie? Oh, Miss, did I say Mr. and Mrs. Wyatt?
I don't know, actually.
Mr. Wyatt. And that's me. I was looking at
I know
you.
my either, it's okay.
I was looking at Andress already. Miss Andress? Here. Okay. Four present, Mr. Wolverton's out, and you have a four. Sorry about that.
Thank you. All right, everyone received a copy of the minutes from March 16th. I'd entertain a motion to dispense.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Andrews, second by Mrs. Andrus. I'm sorry. Motion by Mr. Wyatt.
Miss Wyatt.
See what you started?
Mr.
Yeah. Second by Mrs. Andrus. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 4-0. All right, this should be quick. 160115, update on sidewalk projects. Mr. Cobb, you have any updates for us?
My update is not priority list. We'll pass them around. Yes. I'm not sure that I've got it completely correct. I make any notes over time, but you'll notice the bottom few lines are the things that we've added recently. And if there's anything else that's not on there, I'm gonna write it on my copy right now.
Quick question I would have, is there any update on the BM Montgomery? I know we were waiting on poles to be moved.
I was over there today, as a matter of fact, and there was a whole slew of power company trucks, and I was hoping that's what they're doing. But they had so many trucks parked up there, I didn't go down the street, but that's, I looked at it today,
Okay.
after lunch. If they move them, I'm ready to move on it.
And then I'll,
Mr. Kennedy, you got a couple?
yep. And then I'll, of course, ask, like I do every time, if you've cracked the code for Valley.
Valley, I've not. I was over there last week sometime and looking at it again. The problem is the driveways. The work with driveways, I could get down through there.
So thinking long-term, is there, and out of the box, is there any way that we could, you know, maybe like an owner's got a driveway that's messed up, could we work with them to, you know, it may take a year or 2 years, but we get a lot of requests from people on that street looking for a sidewalk to connect.
Well, and I think it desperately needs, it's connected right there to the middle school.
Yeah.
That's one place that our whole goal again was start schools and work out. But the problem is catching grade. Once you make that flat spot on that uphill, you'd be way up on private property to catch grade.
Yeah.
We could look at the cost of, right now they're on the south side of the road. The north side of the road would you'd have less driveways and less trouble, but now you got them crossing the street twice.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's people live on the other side of the street too, so.
Yeah.
Whatever. We could look at how many driveways there are and what it would cost, but again, I just do not like to get up on private property because it seems like you open a can of worms that.
Well, I really meant like the people who have the driveways that need to be addressed. Maybe there were some of the ones that are the most interested in the sidewalk coming through that we could be met halfway. It's a long shot. I'm just thinking outside.
It's just a steepness of grade. The same thing when we did Mayfair, we moved to the north side because the south side was too steep.
Yeah.
And I tried that on Valley. When I first looked at it, I said, okay, we'll just move to the north. And after I got out and stood on it, it's not going to fit.
We don't have an alley, a paper alley behind.
There's a paper alley on the back side of the south side that connects to the school. No, it's not a paper alley, it's paved. It's paved all the way up to the edge of the property we bought that used to be the apartments.
And you can,
Oh, that's further up. That's behind Claremont and
yes, sir.
Valley View Circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'll get Mr. Cobb up here. Is there a good time? Are you ready to do a work session next month?
Sure.
Okay, all right. I mean, maybe the second, and we'll talk about it later, but maybe the second committee meeting of June, we'll look for a work session at 5 o'clock. And I didn't mean to jump out of order here. He's sitting up here and he's the main one we need to talk to. So
The second committee meeting, you know, the second council meeting.
second committee meeting. I mean, that's when we'll have the work
You said
session.
5 o'clock.
No, I'm sorry. Second council meeting. You're right.
Think about your judgment slot.
Yeah, no, you're right. We never want to do that. No, all right, thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'll take all that up later. Thanks.
Brett, can I ask one
Yes.
quick question? On the two Salter segments, the first segment says Sylvia to Lakewood, but we've already done Sylvia to Rockaway. So will the price go down since we're just going Rockaway to, and we're not really going to Lakewood on that side? Didn't we say at Rockaway, we're gonna switch sides of the street?
Yes, ma'am, but there's a lot of hedge trimming that needs to be done over there.
Yeah.
I'd like, before now would not be a good time to start that.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm not talking about starting it, but would that change the price at all, since it right here is priced going from Sylvia to Rockaway?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, so the price will go down based on the fact that we've already gone from Sylvia to Rockaway, take out that segment, because that segment's already been done.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
The only other comment I'd make would be ahead of that. Well, quick question, and I say appreciate you adding the Mecca Avenue on here. And you may not have looked at it yet, but would that be, is there a right way to do that behind the curb, or would we need to go out on the road?
I didn't have the right of way staked, so I don't know.
Okay, just maybe before that work session, take a look at that for us.
Okay, I can get that done.
I'll just add that, just the Robinson and Shakespeare Parkway, that's actually not the Yorkshire, so I just want to take Yorkshire off that. It's Shakespeare Parkway to the Marriott, and there's a little spot that's still there, Durham, which is actually over. And
Okay.
Yorkshire's not on there at all.
So we want to go to Durham?
Durham, yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
It's just a, I mean, it's not even, it's not even 5 feet out there.
Okay, if y'all know where we want to go next, now is a good time to get started on it. I've got some people that are getting hungry, looking for work. And if you want to point, just tell me what you want. I want to get it started as soon as I can. Because sometimes it's a scheduling issue. I'll hear about it and the contractor may not be here for 2 weeks. And then they might be here tomorrow. It depends on what's going on.
Well, President Wright, what if we went with the first council meeting for sidewalk session?
I think it's a good idea.
Let's do it.
So,
What's that first date?
June 1st?
no.
June 8th.
June 8th.
June 8th, okay.
All right, 5 o'clock looks good.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, guys.
yes, sir, go ahead.
It's not on the list that I did, but I'm sure this is a good look at it, but, I got a call from Edgewood Presbyterian, Oxmoor Road, and the sidewalk stops right there.
It does.
And it's very, very short. Is that really an expensive endeavor to look to connect that into Edgewood Business District?
No. I'll put that on there. I'll add it.
It's actually, it's on the list.
It is.
It's just not a high priority.
It's not high priority
Oh, it's
because
on
it's
the
got a
other side.
signalized crosswalk right there. Because there's sidewalk across the street. So I think it's a medium on the list currently.
Well, okay.
I can bring back the full list of all the other ones we've done if you like.
I didn't take the meeting, so I'm not sure where it was, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought we were just on this one, but I can bring the rest of it to the work session.
That's the one that's going to require the small retaining wall, and possibly the retrenching their drains is about that shallow.
Right there where it stops is a grade change.
Okay, well, looking forward to the June 8th work session. Carry that over. All right, 300619, we will carry this over. 230919, we will carry this over. 250417, there's no updates at this time. The project is underway. Carry that over. 200220, consider parking plaza and parking improvements. I know we have replaced the lighting at this point correctly in the deck, correct in the deck. This was the project where we had the greening options and some additional parking that we could add on 29th Avenue here around Soho. And I apologize, I don't recall where we left it. We had the plan put together by, anyone can remember? Yes. So I guess the question now is, what do we want to do and when?
In particular, the 28th Street part of the, or 28th Avenue part of the plan, which is the north part of Soho, adding parking on there.
Turn your mic on, I can't hear you. Remove your mask.
The 28th Avenue section of that as well.
Right.
That was 90,000, and the other part of the project was.
And I believe this was something we were looking at in the event there were leftover bond proceeds.
Yeah, and if I can, Mr. Chairman, or echoing Councilor Smith's point on that, we know how much parking is needed, so there's no debate about that, and I don't think there's any debate about the project. I think it's really a timing issue right now. Those are big enough numbers that we probably need to, I mean, again, I'm not a member of the committee, but would think would be prudent to tie into the budget process. We'll put it that way.
Well, unless there's objection, we can do as we did on the other items and vote to take this up during budget hearings.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Mr. Kendrick, do we have any legal ramifications if we don't spend the bond money this year?
We need to move forward with appropriate, but you don't have to spend it.
Okay.
There's lots of flexibility in that. If it's going to become an issue, technically ask for extensions if they're required, as long as we're moving with due diligence.
Do we?
That's what the law says. So I would say that we want to act appropriately.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I guess my concern would be is that's capital money anyway.
Yeah.
And we, if the item needs to be budgeted, obviously budget hearings are the time and the place for it. But if it's going to be a capital expenditure coming out of bond funds, it can only be exactly. So just a thought.
I think it's a valid point, meaning that whatever we want to do with this money, we can't really do anything else with this money.
Right.
And so it's just a matter of allocation of capital projects, but still probably a good time during the budget session.
The real issue is whether or not you invest in, so you have arbitrage. There's no chance we have arbitrage. There's no return on our investment. So that's the real legal jeopardy, if there was any. I just don't see the president through the circuit.
Well, and don't forget about the 2.5 million that we have to pay for the,
Yes.
the divergent diamond.
Sure.
I think it's 2.7.
2.7.
Yeah. Right, we should. Okay, all right, well, before that number gets any bigger, would anybody want to make a motion to send this to budget hearings?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Wyatt, second by Mrs. Andrus. All in favor? Aye. 4-0. All right, 070520, which is why I called really for this evening, is the rezoning request from I-2 to C1. I reached out to the property owners and did not hear back. If anybody's here from BEZ, Councilor Andrus or Arden, have y'all had any more contact with them? And we have time before the hearing. Okay.
It's for the, I mean, we're both real familiar with that project, so.
Okay.
I
I think their perspective, from what I can tell, was they want to keep moving along.
Well, we have, the public hearing is June 8th. We'll have committees again before then, so we'll just make sure.
Do they need to be here?
Yeah, we need to have a representative here to fill us in on
I
their
mean,
plans.
I'm saying before that, that they need to be here at the next committee meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
That's June 1st.
yeah, so does the developer need to be here or the church or both?
Certainly need to have a representative from the church, and I would think it would be helpful to have a representative from the developer as well.
Okay, and that'll be June 1st, all things.
Yep. All right, so we'll carry it over, and we are adjourned.
Mr. Waltney. Mr. Higginbotham. Mr. McCluskey.
Here.
Ms. Andrus. All present, you got a quorum.
All right, could I get, did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? And if so, can I get a motion to approve them as dispensed and, approved as presented and dispensed with the reading?
So moved.
Motion for Mr. McCluskey, second for Mr. Higginbotham. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 5-0. All right, we're gonna kind of try to run through this too. 17-10-15, request for consideration of noise and odor problems from Buffalo Rock and Mayfield Barbers. We are working on that. And on a night when we have a little bit more time, maybe in June, I will give y'all a more full update, but we are working on that. We had an issue over the weekend. Well, we didn't have an issue. Buffalo Rock had an issue over the weekend. One of their systems went down, but luckily, Mike and JJ and I are now on the text chain with all of the folks. So we did get notice of it, and I let Andrew and Mike know and several of the neighbors over there. So we are being looped in to the communications now, which is good. But I will give y'all a more full update at one of our meetings in June. So we're going to carry that over without objection. 17-02-20, request to address trash pickup concerns and requirements for downtown business properties from Mr. Hansis and Mr. Wright. Have you heard anything, or have we decided anything on this?
No, this is really, Mike, I'm not, I want to see if we can get the, we were going to get a sample ordinance. Or maybe it was Berkeley. Maybe it was, I'm sorry, it was. This is in my corner, so I will, no, I'm sorry, Mike, it was Berkeley. So I think there is a companion, not a companion, but a similar situated jurisdiction that's dealt with this, and I'm going to see if I can get us a sample ordinance and maybe get with Mike and see if we can work on something to address basically trash receptacle requirements behind our businesses in our downtown area. Okay. That's
All right. So
all right.
we'll carry that over and
Mr. Squire said he didn't have any updates.
okay.
So,
Thank you.
yep.
All right, so we'll carry that over and 1903-20, request for permission to remove the live tree in right city right away at 140 West Optimal Road, Cold Cross, in the paper of our people as well. We carried this over last time. Yes.
Said to go straight on this. He's out of town right now. I asked him the other day, I know Andrew Wolverton was going to meet with him, and he never heard from Andrew. Now, I got Andrew his contact info, but he said he never heard from Andrew. That was as of last Thursday, maybe. He said he was going to be out of town this week, some of this week, and back next Tuesday.
Okay.
But he just, Andrew, I don't think ever had a chance to follow up with him.
Okay, and I will get, yes, Mike.
Two things, Madam Chair. Number one, if Andrew doesn't have time to meet with him, I'm happy to go out and meet with him. Secondly, and maybe I'm remembering this incorrectly, I think Andrew was under the impression he was going to reach out to him, not that Andrew was going to reach out to Mr. Ross.
I asked John to send Andrew Mr. Ross's information.
That's fine. I wasn't on that chain, so
yeah, I think that's where we landed. So,
but either way,
trying to take John out of the middle of it since he didn't really have a dog in the hunt. But
if I need to meet with him, I'll try to make.
Okay, and I'll text Andrew and see, and if that is, if he doesn't have time, I'll see if he can pass that on to you for contact. Yes, Patrick.
Ms. Smith, can you remind me what the purpose of removing the tree is for?
I don't think we knew that for sure, and I think that was part of the reason that we wanted Andrew to talk to him, because we didn't really know the reason behind it other than, did he tell you, John?
I asked at one point, I never heard from him on that, and so I don't have I've asked him to make sure at one point I said, we need to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish and why. And
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Okay.
because I
It's in the
thought,
right of way,
yeah,
so he can't
Right in
touch
front
it.
of the Central Paper
Mhm.
office.
It's in the right of way. He can't touch it, but I don't have a great feel for that. We
Yeah,
spent
'cause
a lot
it-
of time on this, not knowing really what the purpose is.
I think there was some, because I thought maybe the tree was dead and it was perhaps threatening, like, to fall down.
Yeah.
But that didn't seem to be the case from what I could understand from people. They said the tree wasn't dead and that it didn't seem to threaten any like structure or anything. So I think we just need to find out from him what the purpose of this is. I mean, it can't just be because I don't like the tree there,
Okay.
but we'll find out, I guess. Yes.
All right.
No, Madam Chair, I was just going to add, that was what I was going to say. I mean, I've looked at the trees.
Yeah.
I can find nothing that immediately jumps out at me that it's problematic about the trees. So
Yeah.
we're going to really have to go from the owner to get a clarification as to why he thinks it needs to come down. 'Cause it doesn't
And Mr. Cobb's not
appear
here.
to be a problem.
Okay. All right. So we will carry that one over. Sorry, I keep turning off my microphone. New business, 010520, request for permission to allow a parking area to extend partially into the right-of-way at 401 Starrett Avenue from Jim Hoy and Wyatt Pugh and Greg Cobb. And I have no idea what this is about at all. He was.
Walked out, he said that needs to be dropped.
He said it needed to be dropped.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Moved.
All right. I've got a motion to drop from Ms. Andrus and a second from Mr. McCluskey. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. That item is dropped. Okay. 040520, request to consider an ordinance to call and provide for the general municipal election to be held in the city of Homewood, Alabama on Tuesday, August 25th, 2020, and to provide for a runoff election if required on Tuesday, October 6th, 2020, from Mr. Kendrick and Ms. Salter. Do y'all want to tell us exactly? I mean, I assume this is just to make sure that we establish. Okay. Okay.
So moved.
All right, motion from Mr. McCluskey. Second. Second from Mr. Higginbotham. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, that's 5-0 to have an election. And 060520, request to consider approving use of the ES&S DS 200 tabulator system and express vote or an electronic vote counting system as will be supplied by Jefferson County, Alabama for the 2020 City of Homewood municipal election as complies with the Code of Alabama. Also from Mr. Kendrick and Ms. Salter, and I assume this is just the voting machines themselves.
We have to provide notice to the Secretary of State what the machine is used for elections. That is one of the things the other is essentially just authorized the city clerk to negotiate with Jefferson County to procure those machines to the election.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. McCluskey, second by Ms. Andrus. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, 5-0. And I
Madam Chair,
believe,
Just
yes, ma'am, yes,
One
sir.
quick observation.
Yes.
I guess apropos of nothing. We actually dropped the item related to 401 Starrett Avenue at our last meeting, but it was 010420 there instead of 01520.
Huh, thank you for eagle eye on that.
010420, according to our minutes.
And Ms. Chairman, I was going to mention that we can drop 160719. That situation really seems to be under control. I drive down it daily and.
Okay, so do you want to take that off? You want to make a motion to take that off the table?
Yes, 160719 off the table, please.
All right, motion from Ms. Andrus. Second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right.
And I will move to drop.
All right, motion to drop from Ms. Andrus, second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, that is dropped. And now we are adjourned.